on the News Channel 5 network. This is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning and welcome to MorningLine. You're watching News Channel 5 Plus. I'm Matthew Torres, filling in for Nick Barris today. Guys, it's Tuesday. What do we talk about on Tuesdays? We get to talk about cars. If you have any questions about your cars, we have the perfect person to answer them. With me right now is certified mechanic, Mr. Paul Kenny.
Morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, pleasure to be here.
I know it's early, that's why I have my coffee. Did you get your coffee?
Oh, no, just straight water for me.
Just straight water. I like. How's the summer been? How's business been?
So business has been great. I mean, all this hot weather, you know, cars are having problems. A lot of air conditioning work, cars overheating. The hotter it is, the colder it is, the more strain and stress we put. Plus, people are traveling. It's vacation time. Let's go to the beach.
I just love how there's just issues regardless what time of the year for your vehicle. I remember interviewing you when it was winter,
right,
and then now it's summer, and then there's just a whole new set of issues.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest ones that you can think of whenever?
Well, I mean, temperature has everything to do with everything. It is hotter out, so your car is working harder to stay cool. Inside the car, you're putting more strain on it with the air conditioner because you want to stay cool. Rubber parts and pieces, hot asphalt, all this comes into play. It's just harder wear and tear. Even the electrical system, even the battery has to work harder because of supplying more voltage to start it, because you got the AC turned up everywhere.
Right.
Like when you turned it off, when you turn it back on, all that power is still there. So yeah, just more stress and strain due to temperatures.
All right, so he mentioned the fact that it is summer. So if anyone does have any questions before going on a road trip, it's probably the best bet to obviously get your maintenance check.
Sure.
So 615-737-PLUS for those who do have any questions. Now, I do want to ask on behalf, I guess, of my producer, mentioning 200,000 plus mileage on your car. I guess, how often then do you have to check? I mean, obviously that's a lot.
Yeah, miles like that, anything can happen anytime. By 200,000 miles, you should have replaced all the hoses on it, or at least have them checked and see what kind of shape. Same with the belts. If it's an import car, it has a timing belt instead of a chain. That will probably have to be replaced for approximately its second or third time. So at that kind of miles, don't recommend any long trips without due diligence.
Really?
Said the guy that sent his son to Alaska in a Jeep with 200,000 miles, but we spent months before getting everything ready and changing things out.
Are you kidding?
Yes. Well, it's all.
I'd like to know how that trip went.
That trip went wonderful. He had zero problems, including getting up in Nome and having to haul his own gas because the stations are too far apart. No, it went well, but it was a lot of preparation, getting that vehicle ready and trying to, anticipate the worst case scenario.
That's why, it's good to have a dad as a mechanic.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best thing. Hey, we have a caller already.
All righty.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Thanks for calling. What's your question?
I got a question for Paul about tires, of all things, that might be a little bit off of his radar, but I know he knows. I've noticed here lately that on tires, these late tires, that I don't drive my cars a whole lot. I've noticed that, 4 or 5 years, the tires are starting to dry rot rather than, the tread being gone on them.
Right, yeah, and that's the problem is we get older and drive less. Our cars sit more, especially if you're lucky enough to be retired, Joe. And you just really got to watch the edges, the sidewall for those little fissures, those little hairline cracks for that dry rot. They'll look good, they'll ride okay. But especially in this heat, you get out there, you're liable to blow out a sidewall. There isn't a whole lot you can do. I have found that tires will last longer if you use some tire dressing on the outside of them as far as the sidewalls, and maybe that's just more superficial than anything. But yeah, they will dry rot, and we're demanding more of them, especially the higher speeds and stuff. So yeah, definitely keep an eye on that, and keep the pressure right in them, especially.
Good question. All right. Good morning. What is your question?
Good morning. My question has to do with education, so I'm not sure if he can answer this or not. But I have a grandson that's a senior who is interested in becoming a mechanic. Now, keep in mind, I'm 2 blocks from the Nashville Auto Diesel College and have been for the last 60 years. But I also know that their reputation has failed since Lincoln bought it out, and other programs have emerged in the Nashville area. What can you tell me about the other programs, the emphasis that's put on the electronics with engines now, and the programs that are available to a child going into college that does want to go into this profession and wants to be successful at it as far as the education goes?
All right, thank you for the question.
You know, God bless him. If he's got the aptitude and the will and wants to do it, the knowledge is out there. You know, what is it, Vol State and a lot of the colleges now offer a lot of automotive programs or electronics programs. And so many of these cars, or so much of these cars, have onboard computers, you know, engine control module, a body control module. So the electronics is really becoming more and more important. So it's a good specialty for him to go into. If he has the aptitude, he might try getting in at the dealer. Any manufacturer also does their own training. So that is a good way to get in there. I came out of high school, went to work for Chevrolet dealer, and went through all their electronics courses and was Chevrolet trained. You know, they pay for that. Nowadays, everybody is hurting for people, and especially young men that want to come in and make a career out of it. And I'm tickled to hear he wants to get in there. But yeah, I don't know exactly about the other colleges. It is what you put into it, and the guys that have the aptitude and the work ethic go in. Doesn't matter where they go, they'll learn. So you know, the deal, but I really like the dealer and the training programs they have. So you might want to check into that, see if he can get an entry-level position there. May not be what he wants to do. He's not going to go in and start, you know, tuning Corvettes up or anything. But if he's got some experience, you know, that is one avenue for him as well to explore.
Is this something you've always wanted to do?
Oh, I'm the kid that took the lawnmower apart when, you know, Dad was at work. You know, so yeah, it's like anything else. It's just you enjoy doing it.
Right.
So.
All right, let's go back to the lines. Hey, Mary, good morning. What's your question?
I have a question about what's the best way to keep your vehicle maintained if you're not driving it. Like my son has a Mustang that's been passed down to him, but he's only 11, so he ain't gonna get to drive it for a while. So what's the best way to keep it maintained?
Well, if it is going to be in storage for many years, I mean, like not driven at all, you got to get it up off the ground on jack stands so that the tires won't get a flat spot on them. You should remove the gas out of it, you know, and remove the battery. Okay, that's long-term storage. Now, if it's a car that maybe you want to just keep running, you need to drive it every couple of weeks. You need to keep fresh gas in it. Also, it's very important to keep the battery recharged on it. Now, if it sits and you're not going to touch it for a month, that battery's going to be dead every time you go out there. You can get what's called a battery maintainer. It's something that you can plug into, you know, plug into the wall and hook on the battery. Some even have a solar panel that if it sits out where it gets some sun, you can plug into the cigarette lighter and throw the thing up on the dash. But it's important to keep the electrical charged up. But yeah, if it's going to sit long term and you don't need to be able to, have to move it, go ahead and get it up off the ground and get the fuel out of it, and go ahead and remove the battery as well. Cover it up, a little decon in there, because you don't want mice to take up residence and work on the wiring. But it sounds like a real heirloom for him, and he ought to enjoy it when he gets to driving age.
That's awesome, even at 11 years old.
Oh yeah. Well, he can polish on it every week and keep it shined.
What does the gasoline? Because you mentioned as far as making sure there's fresh gas.
Right.
What does that? I mean, this may be a dumb question.
No, gasoline goes bad. It's just like in your lawnmower. You should always, at the end of the year, either run the gas out of it or take the gas out and dispose of it properly. But gas, over a period of time, it gets moisture in it. What they used to call varnishes, and is harmful. It will coat the seals to your fuel system and stuff, and make them not seal any longer. Plus, it loses its octane, or its ability to burn. So after a year or so, if that fuel's in there, you're going to really harm the performance of your vehicle, if not gum up the works on it.
Right.
So.
Right. Great start already. Good questions.
Yeah, always something to talk about.
All right. If you guys do have any questions, make sure to call 615-737+. We'll have much more of Morning Line after the break.
This week.